Yes, yes, yes. Happy Friday. Welcome to show 437. 437. Today we're going to talk about raising standards, or raising your standards without the overwhelm of trying to do it and figure it all out. Super simple process. Looking forward to the weekend, because I definitely am. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show. I am your host, James Borman, and if you are coming through, then please do let me know by hitting the love heart button or commenting down below whether you have consistent high standards. Okay, whether you have consistent high standards. So in the comments, that's what I want you to write. And just to let you know as well, yesterday I interviewed all 3 speakers that are coming to this seminar on November the 25th up at Aston Villa Stadium. 3 incredible guys, 3 incredible stories, it's going to be like electric up at Aston Villa Stadium, like with these guys coming up, all bringing their own skill sets, mindsets, how they overcome cancer, how they overcome dying for 29 minutes, how to raise your performance to the highest standards. It's going to be an incredible day, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, in terms of tickets, you can only get an early bird ticket if you're on a waiting list. Okay, the waiting list is on this post here somewhere, or if you're watching on YouTube or listening on a podcast, it should be on the post somewhere or the description. So make sure you are on that waiting list. August the 1st at 12 p.m. Okay, we're going to be launching the tickets, and we're going to be dropping those interviews next week on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Oh dear. All right, let's get into high standards. So high standards. So for me, I think I'll give it a story. So before I joined the military, I wouldn't have considered myself as having high standards, and this is the reason why. I didn't know what high standards were. So I didn't know like what was considered good practices. I didn't know what was considered a high standard. So I didn't really know whether I was performing at a high standard or not. I then ran away and joined the military, literally. And as soon as I joined the military, from the minute I arrived at the train station at the Royal Marine Commando Centre, I instantly knew what high standards were. I instantly knew the difference between showing up in an average mentality, in a mediocre type of way, versus showing up an immaculate, pristine, attentive to detail manner. And the military taught me overnight about standards in general, and the standards that we should have for ourselves, and the discipline required to reach that standard. And I think that the beauty of what the military gave me is they gave me the fundamentals and foundations when it came to showing up for myself and taking care of myself. Something literally just flew in my eye. And ensuring that me, as the priority, that I had the standards to take care of myself, to respect myself, to respect other people. And I think that's what standards are about, right? They are the rules that govern how you see the world and how you show up and take care and respect yourself. So when I see somebody with high standards, I see somebody that respects themselves. When I see people with low standards, I see people that don't respect themselves. And there is a fine line of inconsistency of high standards as well. But what you have to remember is that if you're showing up at a high standard, at a high level of performance, and you want to make sure that you are at the top of your game, you've got to respect yourself. If you don't respect yourself, you will never have high standards. I've just noticed my pink nail polish for my daughter still on there, in case you're wondering. So first rule, without overthinking it, without being overwhelmed, you must respect you. Okay? Because if you want anyone else to respect you, if you want anybody else to think, man, God, this guy's got high standards for himself, it always starts with self. Always starts with the self. Right? Get it? You, yourself, nail it, are on top of it, and then everyone else will. So the other thing is like, how do we start finding what high standards are? What is a high standard? Okay. So let's take routines and habits, for example. Okay. When we think about getting up in the morning, we're 5:30. I think there's like maybe 80 guys watching, 85 guys watching right now. And I think to myself, it's 5:30, right? The majority of the world are still in bed. There are people who are in bed right now that are looking at the ceiling, deciding whether to go, get up, maybe start their morning routine. There are some people who will be pressing snooze right now. Pressing snooze on them getting up and showing up and reaching their potential and getting to the place they want to go. There are people who are up and at it, like us right now, who have built that self-discipline internally. Over 437 shows, I've shown up consistently over 4 or 5 years doing this show, and many of you have followed that journey. So an example of an average habit, routine and standard would be somebody right now who is in bed struggling to get through life, struggling to realise the reason they need to get up, and not having the respect for themselves to get up and go, I'm going to own the day. They're allowing all of the emotions to consume them. They're allowing their overthinking to drag them away. They're allowing every excuse to consume them. And I would say that's a mediocre / average mentality, right? That's an average standard. They might get up 2 or 3 mornings out of the 7. Okay. But then when we look at a high standard, we kind of go, right, I need to respect myself. I need to be the leader of this family. I need to be the role model to my kids. I need to be the husband that my wife needs, but also the husband that all of my wives look at and go, God, I wish my husband was as motivated, driven and aspirational as that. So we need to make sure that we're at the highest standard, right? So in order to do that, I must respect myself enough to know that I need to wake up. I need to go through a process of having habits and routines that get me to a place in my own head where I am in control of my emotions, control of my mindset, control of my physical state, so that I'm present to be that leader in the home. Not to be present for your business or your career, that comes, okay? But I need to make sure that I respect myself enough to know myself, that I know I need to get up, make that sacrifice, follow through with what I was going to say and said I was going to do, and show up. Okay? Because I know that if I don't, and I tinker around with being in bed and whether I'm going to press snooze or whether I'm going to get up or not, that I'm not going to be in a great frame of mind. People are going to be treading on eggshells around me. People are not going to want to communicate with me. I'm going to be moody. I'm not going to fulfill what I said I was going to do. Make sense? So what we're starting to do is starting to go, right, this is a high standard because I respect myself and because I respect everyone else around me, and I know that I need this, and I know that this allows me to reach my potential. And then we got the low standard, the average standard, the mediocre standard, that's kind of like doesn't quite see that yet. So there is this, between the two, there is this vast amount of outcomes that will happen. Okay, and it doesn't have to be any overwhelm with this. It's just about understanding, actually, it all boils down to everything, whether it's getting up in the morning, whether it's you deciding to go to the gym, even though you're tired, even though you're driving home and going, I just can't be bothered. Okay, there's another great example. A high standard is somebody that will see the gym, see exercise, see throwing weights around, or going for a run, or going to jiu-jitsu, as a non-negotiable, to respect themselves, right? Okay, to making sure that actually you are taking care of yourself, because you understand that that is part of the bigger picture to reach your potential. An average, mediocre mentality or standard would be, oh, I'm just a bit tired. You know, I'll go to the gym tomorrow. And then tomorrow never comes, yada, yada, yada. And then what happens over a period of time, not just like a few days, few weeks, but over months and years, your life will reflect the standards that you show yourself. Okay? That's why so many people slip into that depression bubble or the anxiety bubble, okay, because they're not, and I didn't respect myself enough back then. So I think back to when I had those times, and I always doing a lot of reflection on it now, and I had little respect for myself back then. So I never showed up. So I felt the pity. So I felt sorry for myself. So I felt like entitled that somebody should be coming along to save me just because I served in the military, when actually it was my responsibility. So the high standards is recognizing that I'm responsible for me, not my wife, not my family, not my kids, but me. I'm responsible for me. I'm responsible for how I show up each day. I'm responsible for being here at 5:30 for those that watch. I'm responsible for making sure I'm a leader to my family. I'm responsible for making sure my business thrives and making sure that we keep a roof over my head. To do that, the standards has to be high. If the standards wasn't high, then the income doesn't come in on the business, then my mental health crumbles, then the disconnect between the family. So it's all related, right? And how we avoid this, how we do this without avoiding the overwhelm, and I always come back to this, if you can show at least 15 minutes a day of having the highest standard that was literally possible in your life, every single day for the rest of your life, it would definitely reshape, redirect the outcomes that are going on in and around your life. 1% a day, marginal gains, consistently, every day, forever. That's how you create a masterpiece in a life. That's how you make your life a masterpiece. Not by trying to do it all at once, but by suddenly going, do you know what? Let's think of the bigger picture here. I want to respect myself. Okay, it's my responsibility. Minimum 15 minutes a day where I show myself that standard. And then within that 15 minutes, it might be making the decision to get up, making the decision to go to the gym, making the decision to put your phone down and show up and be present in the home life. Making the decision to say that 5 o'clock or 1700 is when you finish work. No more work after that, right? All these micro elements and decisions that you make life so much better and stronger. Look at this sunrise. Coming straight over the top. That's me, guys. I'm going to sit here and enjoy this sun coming up and have a coffee and just immerse myself in this unbelievable setting that's here right now. Get yourself on the waiting list if you're not. Have an incredible weekend with everyone. It's my daughter's 18th on Sunday. Can you believe it? What a big milestone in the Boardman family. I'm very proud. It's going to be a big moment. We're partying on Saturday night. And then we're taking out for a first ever drink, legal drink. First ever drink. On Sunday, so I'm very excited about that. Have a great weekend. See you all Monday, 5:30, ready to go.